New findings reveal an alarming link between ultra processed foods and the brain. Virginia Tech researchers warn that just one serving of red deli meat could raise cognitive issues by 17%. It's sparking questions about the long term impact of processed foods. Let's bring in Dr. Mark Siegel, the Fox News senior medical analyst and the Miracles Among Us author. Dr. Siegel, thank you for joining us this weekend. Red deli meat messing with my head. What's going on here?
Well, Rich, we have a lot more miracles if we would actually pay attention to this and understand that our bodies are temples and what are we putting in them. Ultra-processed food, 60% of adults are using it most of the time in their diets and 70% per kids. 70% of a child's diet is ultra-processed foods. And I've been saying for a while now that it's addictive. It isn't just the food dyes. That draws you in. But when you get into that diet, you get sugar, you get salt. And a new study from Virginia Tech that I think is groundbreaking shows that you don't stop. In other words, you're full, but you keep eating. They give you more food if you're on the ultra-processed food in this study, and you ate it. That's
The one thing I can tell you, the biggest drug in America is sugar. Sugar is the worst thing. Ultra processed foods as well, chips, soda, but it all has a lot of sugar in it, and this stuff is addicting. Biggest thing that I've done, even when I do with my kids, we've definitely been doing it now as far as like a sugar cleanse. Get off that sugar. Because a lot of these sugar that you're eating in these products is not even real sugar. It's fake sugar. But that's what keeps you eating more and more because it's a drug. It's linking to your brain. So there's studies that show that the blood sugar or the sugar that you get, it's addictive. This is the reason why you got fat kids. This is the reason why you got kids that got these problems, autism, ADHD, all these things goes back to what they are eating, what you are eating. It's crazy. So people get mad at RK Jr., but he's just talking about real shit that we need to know. Like, you ever notice, stop eating sugar for 3 days? Headaches. You feel like a fiend. You feel like you over there, arms itching. Where the sugar at? Where the sugar at? I need something to replace it. Because it's worse than crack. They got stuff in there to keep you eating it and eating it. Why? Because the more you eat, the more money they make. How this food thing works, especially these bad foods, right? This is why we got to really watch what our kids are eating. And especially right now, I'm with that with my couple of my daughters. It's basically just saying, you got to cut out the nonsense. You don't need to have that all the time. Drink some water. Drink some lemon water. Because that sugar messes up your brain. You get foggy. You get anxiety, depression, cognitive decline, neural inflammation. It's now linked to Alzheimer's, depression, and ADHD-like symptoms. It's because of all of that fake stuff that we're eating. It may look nice. The cereal box may look amazing. The chips may look amazing. But it's all killing you. Why? Because the same people that's in the food business are in the health industry. Because if I eat this food and I get sick, where I got to go? I got to go to the doctor. Then they're going to give me what? Some type of pill. They're not going to tell you, cut out the sugar. They're not going to tell you that. Cut out the salt, cut out the sugar, leave it alone. No, they're going to say, take this pill. Oh, you feeling depressed? Take this, Zoloft, or these other pills that you got to take because your mind is depressed. It all starts with what we eat. What is your thing? That's why when you see these kids, they fat, they crazy, shooting up schools, depressed, anxiety. It's because of what they eat. They're eating crap. The crap just fuels it. I'm telling you. You know, I've done this a couple of times, but I'm really doing this with my daughters right now as far as just no sugars. Maybe sugars once a week. If I could tell you how my kids, because, you know, it's Christmas break, so now they're at home, they go like this, then they perk back up because they getting all that sugar because, you know, you can't control your kids. You can make them a lunch and they still eat crazy. That's just how kids are. We all done it. But when you finally around them 100%, you see, oh yeah, they need to get off that sugar. When they cranky, kids get cranky. Why are you so cranky? Why you got a bad attitude? It's because of that sugar. That sugar's messing them up. That sugar is messing them up. And it's very true. I wholeheartedly believe that there is a link for sure. And now we got studies. Now we got an administration and government that's letting this shit come out. Because it's messing up your brain. It's messing up your gut. It's all type of stuff. It's crazy. Like, watch what you eat.
Because there's no off switch in the brain. When you eat sugar, the brain stays on. When you eat this high fructose corn syrup, the brain stays on. And that's the problem with ultra-processed foods. Salt, too. Salt leaves the brain switches on.
So basically, there's no signal going to my brain saying, hey, man, you're full, stop eating, and you just keep going.
Keep going.
Exactly. And, you know, the consequences of that bring people to my office. There's the obesity epidemic in the United States, about 40% of people. There's diabetes epidemic. There's cancer that results from this, colon cancer. And a new study just showed that there's a high increase from Rutgers in breast cancer, especially in black women dying from it. 40% increased death rate over 25 years for black women that had a diet very high in ultra-processed foods. Huge problem. It leads to obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, and cancer.
You know, when I was a kid, I remember looking at things like cheese, full-fat milk. You were supposed to stay away from that because that was the stuff that was going to get you big. Now there's a Swedish study that says eating full-fat cheese and cream is linked to lower dementia.
This is a huge study, and I'm not going to go on TV and say I think saturated fats are good for you, but I think the point here is we villainized them back in the 90s. We said you can eat all the sugar you want, but don't touch fats, because we thought sugar was a fuel for the brain. It turns out fats are actually the fuel, one of the fuels for the brain, and we know that omega-3 fatty acids, those type of unsaturated fats are good for the brain, but it turns out that a certain amount of saturated fats in cream cheese and cheese, 50 grams a day, helps the brain as fuel. And that's my reason for believing that dementia over 20 years in this Swedish study is diminished. And this looked at 27,000 people. This is not a small study.
You know what? The one thing I want to tell you about this. So ever since I stopped, you know, I curbed the sugar, obviously. I curbed, you know, I don't want to eat a whole lot of carbs, but I always ate, you know, especially now I eat like red meat, cheese, yogurt. I used to be, when I was very young, I used to drink milk and be toe up. Right? But now I feel like me and milk agree with each other. But then when I eat yogurt and all that, make a parfait, whatever, hook it up with, obviously, with, you know, good things, I feel way better. I feel satiated. If you know what satiated means that you feel full, genuinely feel full. That means your body's like, oh, you good. See, when you eating these foods that got crap in it, it just tells you to keep going because there's a trigger in your brain that's saying keep going. Your stomach could be very full, but your mind is saying keep going, keep going, keep going. And when you finally stop, that's when you feel like you ate too much, because your brain is telling you to keep going, but your stomach is telling you don't keep going, but you're listening to your brain. When you're satiated, it's your stomach telling you you're good. Drink water. Most of the time, see, one thing I learned from a doctor, and then we'll end this. Most of the times when you feel like you're hungry, you're really thirsty. A lot of us is really more dehydrated than anything else. So this is why you got to pay attention to drinking a bunch of water and then cutting out the sugar. See, what happens is when you eat the sugars, drink alcohol a lot, you dehydrated. So when you dehydrated, that's when you get the thirst, but you think it's hunger, but it's really you're thirsty. Your body's saying, I need water. So that's why when you drink a shit ton of water, you feel full because your body is full. But drink better water, drink real water, don't drink dead water. That's a whole nother conversation. But basically what he's saying, man, is eat healthier foods, eat whole foods. And especially if you have kids, those hot Cheetos, those Takis, that Cinnamon Toast Crunch, even though it's fire, those Reese Puffs, those Cocoa Puffs, those tricks are for kids. All that shit is bad for kids. All that shit. I'm looking real quick what it says. It says children's brains are still developing. High processed food intake is associated with increased behavioral problems, lower academic performance, and higher risk of anxiety and depression. A lot of kids right now are struggling with anxiety and depression because of social media. But I think the number one reason is food. What are they eating? Are they eating things, fats for the brain? You can eat steak, fatty, and avocado and eggs every single day, and you'll be the smartest person in the world. Also, what I notice is too, when you stop eating a lot of these sweets, a lot of these carbs, because I used to struggle my weight a lot. I used to play basketball, but I struggled. But as I get older, you finally understand. You know, it takes time. What I notice is this: the better that I eat, the less bullshit I eat, the less sleep I need. I only need like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. and I'm good for the whole day. It's because my body don't got that junk in me. That's why my daughter, she'll be sometimes be groggy. It's because sometimes you can tell, they be having birthday parties, all that. You're going too hard. You're going too hard. I can tell because the next day ain't worth shit. Groggy, can't even look, sleeping in, eyes hurting. It's because of what your food is. At the end of the day, man, this food is supposed to be a fuel for you. There's nothing wrong with indulging in some of it, but not overindulging is what kills you. And I'm talking from experience. I used to be 350 pounds, and it was crazy. Neck was like huge. It's because the relationship of food. I associated food with happiness instead of just food as fuel. So take care of your bodies, man. Stop eating this nonsense. Cook your own food. You see, you can't even go to DoorDash anymore. They spraying on your food. Cook your own food and just live right. We living longer, but we gotta live healthier too. Let's not be a consistent donor to the health insurance program because we continue to pay them to take care of us. Well, all you need to do is eat the right foods. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It's always gonna keep this thing going, keep it rocking. Go get her Patreon coming soon. Oh, where's the Patreon? Boom. Daily show coming soon. We this close to getting monetized, so then we're gonna really pump that out. And I'm excited. I appreciate everybody's love and support. We're gonna keep it going. I'm out.